Here we are. All right, so welcome to your Yoga Flow for week 2, 45 minutes Vinyasa Flow, and we start this week in a child's pose. So you have some options. You're going to be kneeling towards the back end of your mat. You can either keep your knees together if that feels comfortable, or extended child's pose has your knees apart, but your big toes touch either way. Knees apart gives a little bit more space for the hips. And then you walk your hands forward, relaxing your elbows down, dropping your chest onto or between your knees. And some more options for you is whether your arms are straight and extended. It's a little bit stronger for the shoulders, but may give you a bit of a stretch. Or you bend your elbows, which should give you a little bit more space for your shoulders, allowing the chest to drop down. And then chin or forehead onto the mat, whatever you find most relaxing. So here in this nice little safe space, it's a good chance for you to close your eyes, take a big breath, clear your mind, and center your thoughts. So we're going to spend these 45 minutes moving mindfully in a way that feels good for your body. Any adjustments that you need to take, if there's a different version of a pose that you prefer, you can work through those. Or whenever you need to rest, take a little moment in child's pose, where we are now, or any other pose that you feel comfortable. I've got some breaks factored in anyway, and the main poses that we're going to be working through today will be triangle pose and then pyramid pose, both of which are stretches for the groin and inner thigh and hamstrings. So it's going to feel nice and light, loose and light for the hips. So as we are here, with your eyes closed, maybe you give the shoulders a little wriggle, a shift left to right. Just see if you can free off that joint. Maybe you lift the hips and then drop them back. Tuck the tailbone and then let it settle in a nice position that feels good for you. We're going to be breathing in and out through our nose, which is going to give us a point of focus, something that's nice and calming, and something that's rhythmical for your natural breath cycle. And then whenever you notice that maybe you've twisted a little deep or a pose feels a little bit strong and you notice that you're holding your breath, ease out of it and come back to that natural rhythmical breath that you have. We'll work through an initial mobilization, bringing some gentle movement through the joints, and then we'll start the main section of the flow. So at any point that you need to adjust any clothing, add a layer, lose a layer, whatever's appropriate for you, you can do that. Holding the legs in child's pose just a moment longer, we're going to reach forward with the hands. The hips can lift to allow you to reach. And then pressing into your palms, pull the hips back, pull your hands back towards you. Should give you a nice stretch, specifically through the shoulders and front of the chest. Take another reach forward, let the hips lift. Pushing into your hands, draw the hips back, slide the hands back towards you, just adding a little bit of friction as you ease your hips back. One more time, maybe you reach a little further, lifting the hips a touch more, dropping the chest, pulling the hips back, pulling the hands with you, let them slide along your mat. And then we're going to do the same, but with the right hand only, reaching the right hand forward and then across to the left hand edge of your mat. Pull your right hip back as you slide your right hand back towards you. And with the left side, reach the left hand forward and across to the right hand edge of your mat, pulling the hips back, back, sliding your left hand towards you. And then both hands are reaching forward, lift the shoulders, lift the hips, walk your knees underneath your hips, and we'll come into a tabletop position. So all fours, spreading your weight evenly through your hands, through the knees, down the shins, and into the tops of the feet. We'll take the right hand first, lifting it off the mat, turn your chest to the right, and send your right fingertips high. Now imagine that you're having your right shoulder directly on top of your left. You might not be exactly there, but the shoulders are stacked with the hips square. And then as you breathe out, lower your right hand so the shoulders come side by side. So we feel this rotation through the torso. Breathe in, right hand lifts again, so the shoulders open up. We twist through the body. Breathe out, shoulders come down side by side. You're gently lowering your right hand. One more time, breathe in, lift the right shoulders up, we create that twist. And this time as you breathe out, bring the right hand all the way underneath you, underneath the left shoulder, slide it along the ground and let your right shoulder come down to the mat. Your left hand is maybe just alongside your face, left elbow high, shoulder high, or you can extend your left hand so that both arms are straight and you've got a 90-degree angle between the two. So option 1, straight arm, or option 2, bent arm with the elbow lifted. We'll take a breath here. Again, you're trying to stack your shoulders, this time left on top of right with the hips side by side. And when you're ready, bring your left palm back near your face. Breathe in, lift, right hand up one more time. Reach to the ceiling so we twist the opposite way. And breathe out, lower it down. And then we'll do the same thing with the left side. So the right hand stays on your mat. Lift your left shoulder, lift your left fingertips, turn to the left. So we're looking this time left shoulder on top of right. It might not be exactly there, but that's our intention. With the hips still square, so we've got this rotation through the torso. As you breathe out, bring the shoulders down, side by side, lowering your left hand. And then a breath in sees you lift the left hand up again, rotating through the torso, high fingertips. Breathe out, bring your shoulders side by side. And one more time, breathe in, lift, left hand up, 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 reaching high. This time as you breathe out, we're going to slide the left hand underneath the right. Bring the left shoulder down to the mat. The hips will lower a little bit, and then the right hand on the ground with the elbow high and the shoulder high, or reaching to the top end of your mat so you can extend both arms with a 90-degree bend in the middle at the shoulders. So both arms straight. Two options for you then. You choose which feels best for your shoulders. And then we'll come back to having the right palm on the ground. Lift up and away. Pick up the left hand, reach it to the sky, take a breath in and out. Bring the hands down. Good, well done. We're going to take our right toes and send them to the back of the mat, tucking them underneath us just for a moment. We'll keep the hips square, so watch out for the hips shifting and lifting. Then the left hand reaches in front, so opposite hand to the leg that's extended. As you find your balance, begin to hover your right leg up off the floor. Perfect. And then we'll bring the knee to the elbow underneath you. So breathe out, knee to elbow, drawing the limbs under your body. Breathe in as you reach away, stretch through fingertips and toes, long flat body. And breathe out, curl. Start to lift up through the back. One more time. Reach, see if you can grow a little bit longer. Fingertips and toes extend. Breathe out, squeeze, bring the elbow to the knee, and then bring both up towards your chest. And then we'll set them back down. Give the right wrist a little shake off if you need to. Flick it, wriggle it, rotate it. And then we'll send our left toes to the back of the mat, tucking them underneath you, just to help find your balance. Right hand, opposite hand, reaches shoulder height ahead. When you're ready, lift the left leg up, float it here. Take a breath in to reach through fingertips and toes. And a breath out to bring the elbow to the knee underneath your body. Move nice and slowly. Allow your balance time to react. Breathe in and reach. Long arms, long legs. Breathe out and squeeze. Start to lift through the back, tucking the chin towards the chest. One more time. Breathe in, reach away. A little longer if you can. Breathe out, squeeze, elbow to the knee. Once you've made that connection, lift the limbs up towards the chest and then set them down. Shake off the left wrist if you need to. Flick, wriggle, rotate, and then come back to your tabletop. Reset your knees underneath your hips. Spread your weight evenly through your limbs. A couple of rounds of cat and cow as we drop the belly. Breathe in, look ahead of you and up, lift the tailbone. Breathe out, chin to chest, push through the shoulders, tuck the tailbone. Two more times. Breathe in, feel the front of the body stretch, tuck your elbows in towards your sides. Breathe out, feel the back of the body stretch as you lift up through the shoulders. One more time. Breathe in, lift the chest, lift the chin. Breathe out, bring the chin to your chest and curl up tight. Good, nice, well done. Last little bit of work in tabletop. You're going to take a look over your right shoulder towards your right toes. Feel the side of the waist muscles squeeze tight, and then look over towards the left. So dip over the shoulder, look towards your toes. Make the movement a bit bigger as you go back towards the right side. Push your hips to the left. And then as you look over the left side, push your hips to the right. One more time. See how close you can get your shoulder to your hips. Look over the right shoulder, squeeze. And up and over the left shoulder, squeeze. Good, lovely. Back into tabletop. Sit back on your heels, come off your wrist, roll them out, left and right. You can take a little stretch, putting into the palms, pushing them back towards each other. That's it. Nice, well done. And then you're going to walk your hands forward a little bit further ahead of you than what they were in your tabletop position. Before you tuck your toes, pushing up, lift the hips, and then drop the heels back. So you should have a nice long line between your arms and from your hips down towards your heels. We'll take a little walk, dropping one heel down, lifting the opposite one, and then swap. The heel that you've lowered, that leg should feel a nice stretch through the back of the thigh, back of the knee, down towards the foot. Swap it round one more time, one heel up, the other heel down, and swap. Good, nice. And then we'll bring both heels low, about hip distance apart between your big toes, and your heels are directly behind the toes so that your feet are parallel. Taking a breath in, we'll lift the right leg up and back, extending it towards the ceiling. And on your out breath, you're going to bring your foot to the outside of your right hand. So ripple forwards through plank. Place your foot on the outside of your hand. So you take a long, wide stride. Let the front knee bend as the hips lower. Then release your back knee, release the toes, and we'll pause here. As you start to bring the chest forward, we should feel an opening of the left hip. You might feel it around the back of the right hip too. And maybe you rock side to side, or if you prefer, stay still. You can also rock forwards and backwards, so taking a little bend at the hips and lifting them. So with or without movement, your choice. Maybe it's comfortable to walk your right foot a little wider, let the right knee drift away, and maybe even come down onto your forearms or elbows. If this is the first bit of movement you've taken today, this might be a little bit too tight, so if you prefer, straight arms or straight-ish arms as an option for you. Do what feels good for your body, what feels like a nice stretch rather than pushing past that discomfort. And then if you took the bent arm option, bring your arms underneath you. You're going to walk your right foot underneath your shoulders. So take your right hand to the outside of the foot now. You should feel the knee kind of snuggle in towards the outside of the chest or armpit. Then tuck your back toes. We're not going to do anything with them just yet, but getting them ready. We'll take a breath in, lift the fingertips up so we've got a low lunge. Imagine now that you're pulling your right heel back and your left knee forward. So you're squeezing everything in towards your midline. You may notice your hips shift a little bit, almost squaring up, and that's a good thing. So feel that energy pulling front to back. And then we're going to be brave and see if we can stand up from this position. You have the option, if you wish, to bring your chest down, hands on the ground, lift the back leg first, and then the arms. Or, if you're feeling extra brave, you're going to reach and rise from your low lunge to a high lunge. And from here again, pull your right heel back, pull your left knee forward so you feel your hips squaring up, and you'll feel a lot of energy going on through the hips. One more breath here as you reach your fingertips high, and then we'll lower down. Place the hands on the mat, step back for a plank, and we'll lift the hips up and back, dropping the heels down, and take another little walk. Lift one heel, drop the opposite one, and swap. One more time each side. One heel up, the other heel down, and swap. Before we settle both heels, pulling towards the mat. It's okay if they don't touch. Legs straight or with a little bend if that feels better, but the tailbone lifted up towards the ceiling behind you. Let your head hang heavy, pause for a breath, and then the next time you inhale, lift your left leg up and back behind you, sending the foot towards the ceiling. We'll then take the left foot to the outside of the left hand, so rock forward through a plank, big step forward and through, let the hips lower, look ahead of you, pause, right knee down, release your right toes. Same thing here, you can rock side to side if that feels good, or forwards and backwards as the hips start to release and open up, or if you prefer, stay still if that's what your body needs today. The other option is to walk your left foot a little wider, let the knee drift out, and maybe that gives you more space to allow the arms to lower. Still thinking about lifting the chest, reaching it forward rather than curling into a little ball. We want to keep the back of the body long and flat. So adjust the pose as it feels good for you, upright or down low, with or without movement. And after one more breath, if your arms aren't straight, let's walk them back upright. Walk your left foot in so that the knee comes just on the inside of the armpit, with your left hand on the outside. We'll tuck the toes in preparation for our lift. First up though, we're going to reach up with the fingertips. If balance is a challenge, keep the left foot a little wider. And then it's left heel pulling back, right knee pulling forward. You may notice that shift of the hips. Fingertips up, shoulders relaxed, draw the belly button in. Same thing here, if you need to bring your hands down to the ground to lower the chest and then pick up the back leg before you rise, you can do that, or we're going to lift the back leg from low lunge to high lunge. Draw the left heel back again, right knee forward, feel the hips square. Shoulders should be naturally square anyway with the shoulders relaxed. Maybe you draw the little fingers in towards each other to help the shoulders relax. One more breath in your high lunge, and then we'll reach forward, bring the hands down, step back for plank, and lift the hips up. Drop the heels, and we're back in downward facing dog. Now if you need a quick breath or a drink or a pause in child's pose, you can take any of those options, or indeed stay in your downward facing dog for a moment longer. If that's you, lift your fingertips a second, then push the pads of the fingers down, lifting the knuckles, and extend your hands ahead of you. That might allow your chest to lower a little further, give your head a little shake. If you took a break, come back to your downward facing dog, find your upside down V, and on your next breath in, lift the right leg again, up and back behind you. Long reach, foot up towards the ceiling, try and anchor your left heel down, and this time your right foot is going to land inside your hand. So bring the knee to the chest, lift up high through your plank, step through when you're ready. The right knee bends, the hips lowers, the shoulders start to slide back. We're going to keep the back knee lifted this time, reach and rise, straight up to high lunge. Pause as the fingertips extend, pull the right heel back, left knee forward, and then let the left knee open out, the heel comes to the ground, hips turn, shoulders turn, arms long, warrior two. Aiming to keep your shoulders above the hips, watch out for a lean forward. We're going to try and stay upright, long and horizontal arms. Then the right hand's going to lift, the left hand's going to lower, and we're going to reach over our back leg. High elbow on the right side, turn your chest towards the ceiling. Maybe you look up if that feels comfortable, or sideways on, or even down at the ground if that feels better for balance. This is warrior two. Well done. We're going to come upright again, coming through. Oh, that was reverse warrior, sorry. This is warrior two. Reach forward, drop your right hand down, left hand up and over. Shoulders and hips turn towards the mat, lift your back heel, step back for a plank, and then stay on your toes if you can, or drop to the knees if you need to. We're going to tuck the elbows, look forward and lower. Bend, 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 land lightly. Once you're here, toes soften and we push the ground away. So the chest will lift and the back will bend, and we're looking up or slightly ahead of us, tucking the elbows in towards your body. Now if you need to, bend the elbows more. This is cobra pose, or baby cobra, or the arms are straighter for cobra pose. We breathe out, lower it down all the way to the mat. Tuck the toes again, and you can come through a tabletop with the knees bent, or keep the legs straight as we lift away from the mat. Then the hips come up and the heels drop back, and we find ourselves back in downward facing dog. Take a breath in, breathe out, relax the head, give a little shake. Looking between your knees will give you a perfect line for your eye gaze. And then the left leg, breathe in, lift it up and back behind you, reaching the foot towards the ceiling, but anchoring your right heel down if possible. Left foot's going to land between your hands, so bring your knee to your chest, lift up high through plank, take a step through, help your foot along if you need to, take lots of little steps if that's better. And then as your left knee bends, start to look ahead of you, feel the back of the body lengthen. When you've got your balance, we'll reach and rise up to high lunge. So hips and shoulders square, pull back on your left heel, forward on your right knee, well done. Right heel down, hips open, shoulders open, and we turn sideways into warrior two. Again, we're looking for the shoulders to be over the hip line, knee bends if that feels comfortable, and the arms are long and relaxed. We'll reach the left hand up, right hand down, and take a sideways lean over our right leg, with the left elbow lifting, the chest lifting towards the ceiling if that feels good, or you're looking sideways on or even down at the ground if that assists with your balance. Reverse warrior. After a breath, we'll come up, warrior two, just for a moment, before you reach forward with the left and then down, right hand up and over. Turn your shoulders, turn your hips, and step back to plank. Again, on the knees if you need to, or on the toes if you prefer. Rock forward, bend the elbows, lower and land lightly, breathing out as you go. Once you're down, take a breath in, curling up off the ground through baby cobra or cobra pose. Watch out for sinking into your shoulders. Try and keep the shoulders alive. Tuck the elbows in, lift the chest, broaden your collarbone, and breathe out, bring it down. Tuck the toes again, either keeping the knees straight or bending them. You'll push away from the ground, the hips will lift. Then lift the hips more, pike them, and drop back into your heels. Good, fantastic, well done. If you need another pause, a rest, a sip of water, adjusting your clothing, or just a chance to catch your breath, you can do all of that. Or again, stay in downward facing dog if you prefer. Check in again with the feet. Let's see if we can have them parallel side by side, toes forward, heels back, heels down if comfortable, and the knees bend if they need to, or you can straighten your legs. Tilting your tailbone up to the junction between the ceiling and the wall behind you, allowing the upper body to relax. So we've got one more section of our flow to go. We're going to add a little bit on, lengthening the flow, adding some more poses. With your next breath in, lift the right leg up and back, and take a big bend in the right knee this time. So the knee goes high and wide, and your heel squeezes back in towards your body, allowing the hips to open. But you're going to shift your left shoulder away and your right shoulder closer towards your base foot. So you're looking at your left toes, lifting that right knee high and wide. And when you're ready, step your foot between your hands. Knee to chest, ripple through plank, step through when you're ready. Bend the right knee generously, start to look ahead, find your balance. And when you're ready, reach and rise. We'll take it up for high lunge. So inhale, lifting your hands. Exhale, turning into warrior two. So land in the pose as you breathe out. Lovely. We're going to extend our reach into reverse warrior. So reach forward with the right hand first. Breathe in, flip your palm. Breathe out, lift up and over. So we take this sideways lean over the back leg. Right elbow high, lifting your chest towards the ceiling. Checking in that your front knee is still bent, back leg straight, still breathing, right? Come back up through warrior two. Nice. Now shuffle your back foot just a little bit closer. We're going to straighten the front leg and turn your palms to face the same way that you are. The hips will shift back as you reach forward, and then lower your right hand, lower the body, leaning over your front leg into triangle pose. Some options here. You can rest your hand lightly on your shin if you need to, hover the hand in mid-air, or reach it down towards the floor if your right hamstring, groin, and hip flexors allow. Like we did at the start of the class, we're looking for the shoulders to be one on top of the other, so a horizontal vertical line between the arms. And then from triangle pose, we've got pyramid pose. We're going to lift up and away ever so slightly. Turn your shoulders to face the front. Hips will follow the shoulders to a degree, and then we're going to lean forward, hinging at the hips again. Some options for your arms. Alongside your body, if you can reach down towards the floor, or if you want to give the shoulders a little stretch, reverse prayer. So bring your palms together, turn your little fingers up and along your spine, shuffle them up to about brow line, and then elbows wide as you lift your chest, leaning forwards. So reverse prayer, hands along your back. Take a breath. Wherever you have your hands, release them now, bring them down to the mat, bend your right knee generously, let the hips lower, lift your left heel, and then step back into your plank. Good. Again, straight knees or bent, your choice, with the added option that as you lower down, see if you can hover halfway. Catch your elbows alongside your ribs just for a second, then roll over your toes, push the ground away. We've got upward facing dog with the hips and the knees off the ground, or if you prefer, come down for cobra pose like we had before. So two options for your back bend this time. From here, lift the hips up high, push onto the tops of the feet, or come back down to the ground and work through plank or tabletop. And we find ourselves back in downward facing dog. Let's take a breath. Release the heels. Long reach forward. One more round to go. With the left leg, lift it up as you breathe in. Bring a big bend to the knee. The heel comes back towards your body as the left knee comes high and wide, hips open. Then the right shoulder shifts away, the left shoulder closer towards your base foot. Look at your toes. The left foot's going to land in between your hands, so bring it underneath your body. Knee to nose, roll forward through plank, and take a step through. Let the left knee bend, hips lower, long line through the back of the body. And the next time you breathe in, we'll reach up to your high lunge. Keeping that left knee bent, right heel lowers, turn to the right, long arms, warrior two. So it helps sometimes to lift the chest, draw the little fingers behind you, but watch that you're not sinking into your lower back as a result. Try and draw your tailbone down towards the mat. You'll feel your glutes engaged to scoop your hips underneath you. A longer reach into reverse warrior. So left hand forward, breathe in, flip the palm, left hand up, right hand lowers, and we'll take that sideways lean again across the right leg. Lifting your elbow on the left side, lifting your chest, shining it towards the ceiling. Don't forget to breathe. And then we'll come upright again. Warrior two. Shuffle your back foot a little closer. Straighten your left leg. Turn your palms the same way you are. Turn your hips backwards, reach forwards, and then tilt down into your triangle pose. Same options, fingertips resting lightly on your shin, off the shin entirely, or down towards the floor, as long as your hamstrings, groin and hip flexors allow. Lifting your right shoulder, like we did at the start, one shoulder on top of each other, right fingertips reach high, keep breathing. And then we'll lift up slightly, turn the shoulders, turn the hips, face the front edge of your mat, and take a lean forward, hinging at the hips for pyramid pose. Reminder of your options again for your arms, by your side, onto the mat if your hamstrings allow, or reverse prayer, so you connect your palms, turn your little fingers in and up along your spine, sending your elbows wide to allow you to lengthen through the front of the body. Good, well done, one more breath. Release your hands, bring them onto the mat, rebend your left knee, lift your right heel, and when you found your positioning, step back to plank. Great job, well done. Straight legs are bent, you're going to rock forwards, breathe out, lower down. The option is still there to catch halfway down, just a little hover, and then lift up and away from the ground for upward facing dog. Shine your chest forward, squeeze your shoulder blades together, proud front of the body. And then same thing, you can lower down before you lift through plank or tabletop, or come straight through a pike, flip over the toes, drop the heels back, and downward facing dog. Take a pause here. Now you can hold this completely still if that's good for you, or as you inhale, lift the heels, lift the hips, and as you exhale, push back, drop down. Let's take 2 more breaths, with or without movement. Big breath in and out. One more time, in and out. And then we'll let the knees bend, bring them all the way down towards your mat. Narrow or wide knees, your choice. Big toes touch, send your hips back, and then either reach forward with the arms or bend the elbows, chin or forehead to the mat. We find ourselves back in child's pose. If you haven't yet had a sip of water, this is a really good time to do it. We're more than halfway through the flow already, and it's important to stay hydrated. So we're going to work through some strengthening and stretching poses before our final relaxation. And everybody likes that bit, right? Okay, to get to forward fold, which is our first stretching pose, come through a little tabletop just briefly, tuck your toes, lift your hips, and then just take a little step forwards towards your hands. If your hands need to lift at this stage because the hamstrings are tight, that's fine. Perhaps you cradle your elbows with your hands and then let your head hang heavy. For your feet, you're about hip distance apart or a little narrower. The closer your feet become, the tighter it'll feel on your hamstrings. So adjust it as you need to. And I would definitely encourage even just a teeny tiny bend through the knees so that you're not pressing back on the knee joint. Just a little bend. If you have got your hands able to reach down towards the mat, then that's cool. You can either have them palms down towards the ground or perhaps palms up with a light bit of pressure stretching the back of the wrists. But your head, your neck, your shoulders and your arms are all as relaxed as possible. So we're enjoying the sensation of stretch from the back of the knees up towards the hips, maybe around the hips and perhaps a little bit into the lower back, just depending on where you feel it for your body. But we're letting the upper body hang loose. The next time you breathe in, we're going to add a bit of energy. We're going to flatten the back. So naturally that means the shoulders lift. So inhale, rise. You can then tuck your elbows in towards your body, extend the back of the neck with a slight tuck of the chin so you're looking straight down towards the ground. Wrap your lower ribs in, draw your belly button in, and imagine you're creating as much distance from your tailbone through to the crown of the head. From there, we're going to bend the knees, send the hips back, take the weight through your heels, and when you're ready, reach forward. This is chair pose. So you're going to have your hands and your eye gaze straight along towards the horizon, or if you prefer, lift the arms up a little more. This is stronger. Just draw your tailbone down towards the ground so that you're not letting your lower back slip out as your arms rise up. Squeeze tight here. We'll take one more breath before releasing the hands down, straightening the legs, lifting the hips and dropping the head, relaxing head, neck and shoulders. Same options for your hands. You can cradle your elbows in your hands. Maybe you take a little momentary sway side to side. Or if your hands are on the ground, palms up or palms down, taking that little stretch through the back of the wrist. Whatever feels good for you. If the hands are on the ground though, just to resist the temptation to start to straighten out and straighten the shoulders, keep them nice and loose with that heavy head. A little bit more energy again, breathing in, halfway lift to flatten the back, drawing the shoulders up, flattening that lower back, flattening the upper back, extending the back of the neck, drawing in the midsection nice and firm. Good, well done. Just check again, micro bend at the knees if you need to, so you're pressing back on the knee joints. And then it's a little stronger, bend the knees, send the hips back, take the weight through the heels. When you're ready, reach your hands up into chair pose. Good, well done. Same options, arms straight ahead, along with your gaze, or up. Just check that the tailbone is drawn down towards the ground so the lower back stays firm and happy. Good, well done. One more breath. And then a slow rise up to standing. Push into your heels. Start to straighten your legs. Bring your hips in line with the knees. Shoulders in line with the hips. Fingertips in line with the shoulders. Reach up, breathe in. And breathe out, hands down. By your sides. Good, nice. Take a moment to pause. Draw your little fingers in towards your thighs. Belly button in. Tailbone down towards the ground. And then a slow tuck of the chin to the chest. Look towards your toes. Imagine the back of your neck lifting higher than your head as you start to roll your shoulders forward. Keep the upper back as the highest point within your body. Let your head hang low, rolling forwards even further. Now it's your ribs, your mid-back. Keep rolling, keep sliding the hands down. Mid-back and lower back is the highest point. When your fingertips reach as low as they can go, start to bend your knees. Keep bending until your hands can comfortably touch the mat. And when you're ready, step back one leg at a time into plank. So you're actively pushing your hands into the ground, lifting your chest away from the floor, lifting up nice and high on the heels, and we're going to take a slow lower down to the mat for a count of 5. If you need to come to the knees, do that. Otherwise, spiral your biceps forward, bend the elbows, and lower for 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Well done. Release your toes. Slide your hands forward so your elbows come underneath your shoulders. And I'm going to give you 2 options for your legs. Either you zip up, inner thighs connected, knees nice and close, ankles squeezing together, or you take a parting about hip distance apart or a little wider. But see if you can point your knees down towards the mat rather than releasing your heels left to right. So I'm going to try and keep the hips nice and active, pushing into the tops of the feet. With the elbows underneath the shoulders, shine your chest forward. Try and broaden the corners of your shoulders out towards the sides, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting the chin, lifting the chest, and then pull your elbows back towards you. So you should feel a bit of energy through the legs, through the glutes, but specifically the back of the body. Take a breath in, see if you can lift a little higher, so lightening the elbows now, using a bit more muscles of the back. And then the breath out, see as you lower, elbows wide, make a pillow for your head, relax it down, and then rock your hips side to side to side. Good, well done. We'll go again, so slide the elbows underneath your shoulders. Parallel forearms, fingertips reaching forward. And see whatever option you had for your legs, you take the opposite one now. So I started with mine wider, now I'm going to zip them up and in and see if that feels any different. So we're going to push into the elbows, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, slight extension of the chin, just enough that you can still comfortably breathe. I'm pulling my hip bones into the ground, that's where the glutes might be active. Pushing into the tops of the feet, pointing the toes, and then trying to lift even higher. One more breath, lift. And gently lower down. Send your elbows wide. Relax the chest down. When the tension creeps out of your midsection, roll the hips left to right, left to right. Good, well done. And then push into the ground, lifting up through tabletop. Side saddle your legs, and we're going to bring the knees forward ahead of us. Reposition so that you're in the center of your mat, giving you enough space to lie down in just a moment. We'll do a little bit of work through both because we've worked the back of the body, so we're going to work the front, and then we'll come onto our back, last round of stretches. Take a little wriggle so that your sit bones feel super comfortable, both connected to the mat. Lift up tall, slide your hands behind your knees, take a little lean back, come onto your toes, and lightly lift your right foot up, horizontal with the ground or thereabouts. Right foot down, left foot up, lift. Take a little pause, keep the body high. Lower the left, bring the right back up. And this time as the right lowers, let the left come up, so we're swapping. That's it, switching both legs together. Switch again, stay tall, switch again, nice. One more time for the left, switch, good. And then keep the right up. See if you can get the left shin to join your right so that both are lifted now. Watch also that you're not rounding over the hips, slouching in this position. Stay up nice and tall. You can use a little bit of pressure, hands to knees to lift your chest, elbows low, looking up and over your toes. And try and draw the shoulders down, slide the shoulder blades down the back. One more option for you here is to release your hands and hover them alongside your shins. This should help you lift up that little bit taller, super slow. And then we're going to open out, send the toes away, send the shoulders away. Keep going, nice and slow, nice and controlled. That's it, long straight legs, long straight body, and gently down, all the way. Fantastic. Bring the knees up in towards your chest now. Give yourself a squeeze. Feel your hips lift in the lower back, firm against your mat. So if you're not quite there, you might be allowing the shoulders to open. So tuck your tailbone, squeeze in nice and tight. Good, well done. Rock left to right as well. Feel a little bit of pressure of the ground against your lower back. Free massage. And then keep your right knee where it is. Let your left leg go. Now we're going to come into a right hamstring stretch. So if you know your hamstring is tight, perhaps you bend your left knee, bring your foot towards the mat. But if you can, straighten it out to you. Squeezing the right knee in towards your chest. You're going to slide your hands around the back of the thigh, back of the knee, and squeeze the knee and thigh close towards your chest, but let the foot lift towards your ceiling. So depending on how tight the hamstrings are, depends on how high your foot will be able to come. But squeeze the knee so you're using the strength of your arms to keep the knee tight towards you. And then we're going to start to target the hamstring stretch specifically. Straighten your leg, let it naturally lift away. Keep a bit of pressure on your hands though, so don't let it shoot all the way away. And as the leg starts to straighten, the hamstring will begin to stretch. Find your edge where you've got enough of a stretch but enough of a pull towards you. You can flex the foot or point the toe on the right side, whatever feels good. Then bring your attention back to your left leg. See if you can get your left knee pointing directly up towards the ceiling. And what it might feel like is you roll your inner thigh closer together, because naturally if you relax, your leg will roll out. So left knee up towards the ceiling. Imagine you're rolling your inner thigh in towards the ground. You might feel the stretch change on your right hamstring as you do that, and that's okay. Now see if you can keep that right leg straight, left leg alive, and pull the right leg back towards you, deepening the hamstring stretch, only if that feels comfortable. Find your edge, and then keeping the stretch on the hamstring, start to re-bend the knee, slowly but surely, pull it back towards you, toes lifted towards the ceiling. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, bring the knee all the way back in towards your chest. And when you're ready, bend the right knee even further, change your grip so you're reaching the top of the shin, big bend in the knee, squeeze it in tight, and then let it go. Good, well done. Same thing for the left side. If you need a little shuffle for the hips, take it. Squeeze the left knee tight all the way to the chest, holding the top of the shin initially. And again, if you know your hamstring is tight, perhaps you bend your right knee, bringing the foot towards your mat, but if you can, let it go nice and long. Change your grip on your left knee, bring the hands behind the knee onto the back of the thigh. Squeeze it again, nice and tight towards you, nothing too strenuous yet. And then start to lift your left toes up towards the ceiling. So you'll start to come into your hamstring stretch, but again, hopefully it's not too uncomfortable just yet. The knee is still tight in towards your body. And then when you're ready, start to extend your left leg. The straighter it becomes, the more the hamstring stretch intensifies. So Allow the leg to lift away from you. Just keep a little bit of pressure, cradling the back of your thigh with your hands. And when you found a position which is straight enough, giving you enough of a stretch in the hamstring, decide if the foot is going to flex or stay pointed. Holding that hamstring stretch, take your attention to the right leg. Lifting your knee again up towards the ceiling. Maybe it feels like the inner thigh is rolling in, pushing firmly into the back of the heel so that the right leg is as alive as the left. Good, well done. Take a breath here. Then re-bend the right knee, pulling it towards you. Try and keep it as straight as you can for as long as you can. Using the strength of your arms, pull the right knee back in towards your chest. Let it bend when it's ready to bend. Good. And then bring your hands to the top of the shin so you change your grip. Bend your knee generously, squeeze it in towards your thigh. Bring your right leg up to meet your left so that both are bent. Take a hold of the right leg, squeeze them both. Rock again, side to side, left to right, as you start to consider closing your eyes. Well done. And then when you're ready, let go of the legs, gently walk them away from you, bit by bit by bit. Now if you need a jumper or a blanket or some socks if you're chilly, please add the necessary clothing and equipment. Once your legs are straight, take a little rock through the hips so that they feel good. Shake the legs off left to right. And then when you let them go, notice how the toes perhaps naturally turn out. So when we're doing our hamstring stretches, I got you to lift your knees towards the ceiling. You'll feel inner thighs connect. And as they relax, they fall out to the sides. Same thing for the shoulders. Give them a little wriggle. Make sure that they find comfort. And you can have your hands on your tummy, or perhaps right hand on the tummy, left hand on the chest. Or maybe both palms are down towards your sides, facing up with the upper arms and lower arms connected to the ground. Wherever you are, I'll encourage you to close your eyes. Come back into the sensation of your breath. Easing, relaxing the muscles, relaxing the joints. Take any little fidgets that you need to so that you feel really comfortable where you lie. Bring all your attention inwards and imagining the journey of the breath in and out through your body. Staying on your back a little moment longer, I'm going to give you a little quote. Friday the 13th of November, in case you didn't know, I didn't until I read this, was World Kindness Day. So we're going to think about kindness in a number of different regards. With this quote in mind, no act of kindness, however small, is ever wasted. And when I read this, the person that had put the quote online asked if you'd ever noticed how you feel when you see someone doing something kind for someone else. So you witness the act of kindness. And they put it that simply witnessing that act of kindness gives you the feeling as if you're experiencing the kindness yourself. Kindness breeds kindness. So you see someone doing something nice, and it makes you feel all nice inside, as if you're the recipient. So as we experience another lockdown, lockdown 2.0, it can be difficult to offer kindness in a way that we might like. But perhaps there's something small that you can do today. Maybe send a message to a friend that you've not spoken to. Perhaps just a knock on a neighbour's door if you know that they're living alone, obviously maintaining your adequate social distance. Or maybe you send a card or a postcard to someone that they might like to receive a surprise through the post. And so we've gone through witnessing kindness, you've gone through a small act of kindness, but also don't forget to be kind to yourself. So maybe it's a nice hot drink that you make for yourself with just a moment to sit back and enjoy some peace. Maybe you send yourself a postcard or a card in the post and then receive it a few days later, and maybe that puts a smile on your face. Maybe it's a nice face mask or a hot bath, whatever that is, but a simple moment of kindness for yourself. And imagine this analogy. You are no good to anyone else unless you put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. And with that in mind, start to bring a bit of movement through your toes, through your fingers, and take the biggest breath that you've taken all day. Really fill up. And let it go. And when you're ready, make your own way, slowly, steadily, into a seated position of your choice. You can rock side to side, forwards and backwards, roll onto one side, and come back up. When you're ready, you can rest your hands on your knees, your shins, or your ankles, whatever allows you to feel like you've reconnected with the ground, lifting up physically and energetically through the front of the body, anchoring down the back body. And when you're ready, reach your arms left to right, out alongside your shoulders. Turn your palms up, take a breath in and reach. Up and overhead, connect your palms. Breathe out, lower them down. Pause in the center of the chest. Feel your thumbs push back against your body. Take a little lean forward. Let me say a big thank you to you for your company and your attention and your energy. But give yourself a thank you as well. Whatever you're up to, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.